Hello and welcome to the Healthcare Facilities Network. I'm your host, Peter Martin from Goslin Martin Associates. As always, thank you for clicking on this episode. And today I am very happy to welcome my guest, Skanda Skandaverl from CommonSpirit Health. He's the new president of the American Society for Healthcare Engineering. Skanda is the president for ASHE in 2024. Skanda, thank you so much for appearing, for making time. I know you've got a busy schedule. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you for inviting me. This is a great opportunity, and getting into the presidency, it's only a few days. I can feel the load on me, and this will give me an opportunity to say what I want to say to the dear members.
Absolutely. Congratulations on your election.
You.
As Skanda said, we are recording this on January 9th, January 8th. I'm giving you an extra day. So we'll post this pretty quickly because we do want to get it up as Skanda starts. But congratulations. How have those first 8 days been?
Well, in fact, it was good. I'm getting to know LinkedIn. I put a message in LinkedIn, seems to be well received. I wrote a letter and sent from ASHE website to all the members, and it's trickling into them. I'm here to serve, and I want to reach out to every member. I'm not going to leave anyone in the United States and around the world. So I'm here to ASHE. I'm here for the members.
Excellent. And I do want to get into that a little bit more. Obviously, that's why we're discussing. But in Skanda's role that actually pays him, that he gets paid for, he's the division director for CommonSpirit Health. He's the division director of facilities management, energy, and infrastructure. Midwest. Skanda has hospitals in 4 states, just about 34 hospital locations across the Midwest. He's based out of Omaha, correct, Skanda?
You're correct, and it's a snow day here in Omaha.
Snow days when you are when you're a professional are a bit different than the snow days when you were a kid in school, where school was canceled. You got to go outside, do some sledding, do some snowballs, whatever. But I'm sure a day like today, maybe a little bit more quiet so you can get some more office time in.
You're correct. Yeah, because some of the people are not in the office, and so I don't see anybody standing outside my eyes waving, and I have a glass front in front of me. And sometimes you're on a Zoom call, you're on the telephone, but somebody is outside. Come on, it's so. Yeah, but over a period of time, you get used to what you have to do.
So let me ask you: do folks wait out? So you have a glass office. Do folks wait outside your office for you to? Like, you might be on a Zoom, they wait out there?
No, as a courtesy, I have a note, I'm on a Zoom call, so when they close the door, there's a note there. But sometimes, this is a habit of a lot of people. When you're on a multiple calls, when there are there's some Zoom calls, have 56 people, 24 people, there are some icon in the Zoom, you're going to get a coffee or you're going to a break or something. So if there's somebody's there, sometimes I'm tied in Zoom calls for hours and hours and hours. So if they wave, I know there's something important, I could take a break and just step outside and answer that call.
Yeah. How do you like Zoom meetings? Are you used to them? Do you tolerate them? Because the reason I ask, I was actually listening to a press conference earlier this morning, and it was via Zoom. And when they got off the Zoom, somebody commented, there was all that noise in the Zoom call, like you could hear people doing their things. And when the Zoom ended, the host said, "I am so tired of Zoom meetings because you always get the background noise and people doing things." How do you feel about these Zoom meetings?
Looking back, like you have already mentioned, I have many hospitals. There are hospitals like Honey, 3 hours away. And I used to have Des Moines, that's about 3 hours away. So in order for me to have a meeting with one of my direct reports, I had to drive 3 hours. But as a Zoom meeting, I can get on the call, and one-to-one is really very effective. Or even a few people, because one of the things is you pay attention. When it's going more than 10, 15 people, you're not concentrating.
Yeah.
And you are listening to only a portion of what they're saying. And, we do have this infection control quarterly meeting. I have a portion I have to present. So once my presentation is over, I'm tuned out because every other people is presenting, I'm not listening. So is it a good habit, bad habit? As a human, we get used to it. The more Zoom meeting, I think the less concentration you have. So, it's a mixed method, message, whether it's good or bad, it's both. But if you really want to have a meaningful meeting, I will say it's a personal meeting is the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. So how do you, you're ASHE president for the year. You've obviously been committed to ASHE for what, about 28 years now? You've been involved in the organization. You've been in healthcare for what, 30 years, 32 years. How do you balance, especially as you look at this year how are you balancing your roles with ASHE with your role, which is obviously not insignificant, with CommonSpirit?
Well, Peter, let me take a minute back. And I didn't go to college to become a healthcare engineer. It happened in accident, and I was doing my master's program in University of Kansas, and I didn't do my budget correctly. My funds were running a little low. I needed a job, and at the time I was a student. I couldn't work outside the campus, so I was looking at the employment board and see there's a vacancy for a maintenance worker part-time, 20 hours a week at the Watkins Hospital in the university. Well, I have no choice. Well, it's 5 to 9. So I walked down to the hospital and I bumped into the CEO in the hallway itself. It was Jim Strober. And he walked me into his office and we started talking. Very friendly guy. And he was asking me my background and everything. And right away we clicked as friends. And because he's having a quote to replace an OR right, which is about $12,000. And I'm an electrical engineer, so he was brainstorming with me. Hey, so I asked, so what's the problem? He said, it's flickering. Well, then we walked up to the second floor. They have 2 OR rooms and 12 patient beds. And I said, well, can you hold on? Let me look at it further. And then I was hired. Next Monday, I'm starting to work. So to make a long story short, it was a loose wire. I fixed the wire and I saved him $10,000 even before he started working there. Then we were good friends.
Wow. So did you get hired in as a maintenance worker or did you come in?
It was a student worker. I go to college in the morning. We go there at 5 o'clock. We clock it's clock in. And basically, changing light bulbs and whatever we have to do there. We were 4 people, two guys and 2 girls. And we are students, so everybody is friendly with us. We do whatever they need. We are there till 9 o'clock. Actually, we work for 2 hours and we have a break time. And after the break time, we go to the basement and do our homework. So it's a student worker. So it's a state job. So I get paid once a month. Even then, that's a big chunk of money for me to pump gas for my car.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning. So I was doing for about few months. So I get to know what a hospital, how the doctors work, radiology department. I'm in and out, to every corner of the building. And, KU is a 24,000 students at the time. So the hospital is a busy hospital. So in Lawrence, Kansas, I found out later, all the leaders in Lawrence meet at the Albemarle Country Club to have lunch and play golf. So apparently there's a Lawrence Memorial Hospital in town, which has 200-bed hospital. Robert Dolan was the CEO at the time. He was embarking on an expansion, collecting money, 35, 40 million. He was running into a problem because of some electrical transformer he has to build around it. And he was casually telling this to this Jim sitting side by side at a lunch table. And Jim has spelled my name. Hey, I have a guy genius in my hospital who saved me thousands of dollars. And next thing I know is he connected me to Robert Dolan. And I'm looking at a map and yep, they're building around the transformer. I said, no, you can move the transformer because for me, it's simple.
This is Peter Martin. If you or your organization is interested in advertising or partnering with the Healthcare Facilities Network, including sponsoring content, then please email me using the barcode in the lower right of your screen. From the trades level to the vice president level, from planning, design, construction, project management, compliance, safety, and security, the Healthcare Facilities Network reaches FM people where FM people are.
But because I have done major power station, substation, being an electrical engineer. So I saved him, I don't know, several thousands dollars, $100,000. And he said, can you help me to run this project? Peter, at the time, I couldn't accept the job because I was on a student visa, but I was in the process of getting a green card. So I said, if I get the green card, I will help you. It so happened that I got the green card. The first thing I know is now I can work outside the university. Called him and he hired me.
Oh, wow.
So I overseen the project for him, which took about close to 2 years. During the time, the facility guy left the hospital. So he said, can you oversee the hospital? Well, I'm finishing the project, overseeing the hospital, put my MBA program on hold because money came priority. That's what I needed at the time. And I'm managing the hospital. So he asked me, can you hire me a facility director? I said, sure. So he bring me applications every day, 1, 2, 3. I look at it. Well, nobody was to the standard I wanted. I think he got tired after 6 months, came to me one day and said, everybody I bring, you don't like. Why don't you do the job? Okay. I told him, sir, I am an engineer. I can fix your infrastructure. I don't know about this Jake or whatever these guys are talking about. I don't know anything about the regulation. He walked me to his office. He went through a pile of papers, pulled out a flyer, American Society of Healthcare Engineers. The conference is within 2 weeks in Washington, D.C. He said, you're a smart guy. You go to this conference, you will figure it out. That's how I started, Peter, in 1990. I still remember the conference. You know, those days, ASHE has the golf on Sunday. The conference starts with the golf. So I am very excited, wrapping my golf clubs and everything, flying to Washington, D.C., played golf. First time, made friends in the golf course. Went to the ASHE conference, and I was in the front row.
Wow.
Tom Skipper is the president at the time. I was early morning, 6:30, I'm there in the hall. And so he's there, he came early to practice his speech. So I got friendly with him and we bonded right away. He took my name and next thing I know, I'm on ASHE committees.
Wow.
And he introduced me to Kansas City chapter, Kansas State chapter. So I came back, you know, the first conference, I think you remember those days we give handouts. And we have 4 sessions going in the same time. I'm so greedy. I want to listen to all 4 sessions. So what I do is I go to one session, take the handout, stay there 15 minutes, go to the other session, take the handout, stay there 10 minutes, I go to all 4 sessions. I came back to Lawrence, Kansas, almost 20 pounds of paper, all presentations.
Yeah.
And believe me, I went through every piece of paper. That is how I learned codes and regulations, compliances.
Wow.
I mean, ASHE was the resources.
Yeah.
And I stayed in healthcare so long because of ASHE. I mean, they gave me the tools and resources that I wanted. And the local chapters that I was affiliated with gave me the comfort level that I was able to do the job much easier because I developed friendship in Kansas City. In Kansas City chapters, what we do is we meet in every hospitals. So when we have a meeting, we tour the hospital. I get to know how they function. So within about 6 months or 1 year, I knew every director in Kansas City.
Wow.
I have been to every hospital in Kansas City. And eventually I went to every hospital in Kansas. So if there's a problem, all but is pick the phone,
Yeah.
call your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's-
that is the synergy ASHE gives to the members.
Let me ask, going back, so you came over, so you were on a student visa. So did you come to this, where were you prior to coming to the States? And did you come to the States why did you, like, you wanted to get were you getting your MBA? Did you say you were in a graduate degree? What did you think you would do after your degree relative to a career?
Okay, yeah.
Or a second part of your
I
career?
must have started in the midway of my life. So I was in the Middle East. I was working. I'm an electrical engineer, graduated from University of Sri Lanka, where I
Okay.
was born. And I was working for a Cogilax French company, who is the international electrical contractor. So I was assigned to do electrical contracts in the Middle East.
Okay.
So I worked in countries where you will not go nowadays. I was in Iraq, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. So I was building power stations, substation, transmission lines. I was living in suitcase, in the sense my headquarters in France. I go there, they give me an assignment, I fly there,
Wow.
do my project, get back to France, then they give me another project, get back to the other country, do the project, get back to France. I was a project manager, worked with multinational people, in the sense, it's still a law in the Middle East. If you work in Saudi Arabia, you have to employ every country people. Because what they fear is, if you bring one country people, they will conquer their country or whatever it is. I have to employ 20% of Indians, 20% of Pakistanis, 20% of Filipinos, 20% of blah, blah, and including British, American, and Japanese, and all kinds of. So you have a multicultural people. Somehow, even though I worked for a French company, and then I worked partnering with the American company, I got more friendly with Americans than French. So I had a choice. I could have stayed in France, because they offered me that they will give me a residency to work for the company forever. And then I got to be roommate with Americans in Saudi Arabia. They kind of convinced me, Skanda, for you, this is not the place you want to be. I mean, they are very genuine. And I got the idea of coming to the United States. And that's another story, how I got the visa and came here. So University of Kansas was the only university was very comfortable in their fees. When I looked at that, I mean, Boston, New York, everywhere I applied, but their fees was astronomical. I could not pay. University of Kansas was pretty, either they made a mistake or whatever it is, it was pretty low. And so I chose to come, and I was making good money in Middle East, Peter. I took a risk. I said, wait a minute, I can't be living all my life in a suitcase and running from, and I'm glad I did. You know what's happening in those countries now.
Yeah.
In fact, I could have been there, decided, they offered me to be there forever, but I couldn't. And I'm glad somebody helped me to make the decision. So that's how I came to University of Kansas to do my master's.
Wow.
So I'm already a electrical engineer, but the student visa prohibited me working outside the university until I get the green card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's always interesting to hear. That's what I like about doing this, is you hear those career paths. So you took that's a pretty big risk that you, I mean, not a pretty big risk.
Yeah. And
you packed up and moved.
Yeah. And in life, sometimes things happen for good. If I didn't run out of money, I would have graduated as an electrical engineer and would have joined a power company or do whatever it is. In fact, even after when I was working in the Lawrence Memorial Hospital, I did get an offer from the Kansas Power Company. Almost the salary was same. They said I had to travel. So, but by then I have bonded with the ASHE and also with the healthcare. The difference between working for a power company and the healthcare is you have a lot of human touch when you work in a hospital. by the time, I go home, I would have spoken to about 20, 30 people
Yeah.
personally. When you work in the power company, you drive in a car, look at the transmission line, power station, you are interacting with machines, not
Yeah.
people. So for some reason, I feel that I have more satisfaction working for somebody who appreciates you, and my end results definitely help a patient walk out of the hospital happy, smiling.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
you can see it from our company also. You are doing a service for the whole country, but it's like you flip the switch, the light comes on. You don't think of anybody who is the power station running that power generator to give you the electricity, but in a hospital, you see it firsthand.
Yeah. You have very good soft skills, communication skills. You're a natural communicator. You're comfortable doing all that stuff. Were you always that way, or did you have to develop those skills?
Well, I was, Peter, I believe in everybody has talent. And I think as a human, we need to identify their talent and we need to nourish them and we need to provide the tools to them. When I was working in the French company, I think the person who was my boss is Simon Seni. He realized that I'm a potential leader and he coached me. And he gave me the freedom to manage people. And he told me, pulled me into the office and said, Skanda, when that I told you, when we are having multinational culture people and, trying to bring everybody together on a team, the French struggled because of the language and because of their culture and things. And he saw me that I interact much more smoother with people by nature. So he said, Skanda, I want you to lead the team because you have a way of talking to people. You are a way of bringing their talent out. So he saw the talent in me. And he told me that when he told me that, I decided, okay, if I have the talent, let's improve it. And he did it. And one day he surprised me. He pulled me into his office about lunchtime. We were in bus ride, and he said, Skanda, take me to Kuwait. I am leaving and you are in charge. I said, Simon Sini, what do you mean? I see that you can do my job. There's no need for me to be here. I'm handing over to you. Just drop me in Kuwait and he took off. Wow. So it's kind of sometimes you don't realize until you are in the seat that you can do the job.
Yeah.
So I learned that a long time ago. And I'm a friendly person. I get along with everybody. But from that day, I start developing my skill to be a leader.
Very good. Very good. So when did you decide you want to be ASHE President?
That's another question. So when I was in Lawrence Memorial Hospital, I told you that I was, with the Kansas City chapter. And I think when they elected me as the president of Kansas City chapter, and I had like 20 members. And I said, no, 20 members is not enough. Kansas City has several hospitals. So what I started doing is with my board at the time, a few board members, and we changed the bylaws. We started inviting the vendors, architects, engineers in the group. And I was the president of the chapter for about 3 years. And by the time I left, the membership was 180.
Wow.
And today, Kansas City membership is about 300. What I have seen that is by bringing the people together and start talking and having a teamwork and collaboration, we all grow. Healthcare cannot grow without growing the directors and the supervisors who work in healthcare. It has to grow together. That's the only way we can do. And I see a lot of energy when people meet together. When the guys are in the power plant, and normally, typically, a facility director is in the basement, in a room, no windows.
Yeah. And
they are occupied 8 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours a day. They cannot think out of the box. So when you take them out of their facility to a common place and start talking to them, they are totally different. You
Yeah.
see their talents, you see how capable they are. There are some people very good in electricals, there are some people very good in mechanical, there are some people very good in plumbing. Put all together, you can solve any problems. Well, when I was in Kansas City, I called University of Kansas director. I called the St. Luke's director. I called the North Kansas City director. I have a problem. What you do?
Yeah.
He introduced me to an architect, introduced me to an engineer. That is how we became friendly. When we grow, when I was at Lawrence Memorial Hospital, the leadership understood that what I am doing is helping them. Even the CEO recognized me. So I had the opportunity to grow the Kansas City chapter. I was the president of the chapter, then I did the same thing in Kansas chapter. Kansas chapter, I still remember we meet in Salina. And I said, guys, when we come here, let's play golf before the meeting. And the first golf we had was one team. 4 people went and played golf. Today they have a golf tournament, more than 260 people participate. And I got an email yesterday, sold out.
Wow.
They're having a golf in April, sold out. And what they do is they make money and they do charity. The same thing in Kansas City. They make money in the golf. And this gives the chance for people to get away from their work, on a social ground, interact, and brainstorming. And that is how the healthcare facility engineering can grow. And I did the same thing when I went to Virginia. I worked in Virginia, Skanda Health. I became the member of the Camden chapter. Then I came back to Omaha. Now I was the president again, the Nebraska chapter. So all this, being a president of the chapters and seeing how these people can grow, I said, why can't I take this to the ASHE platform where I have 12,000 people?
Yeah.
And Peter, from 1990, I was attending ASHE. I only missed one ASHE conference, that is in 2004. I went to attend the International Federation conference in Sydney, Australia. That's the only time I missed ASHE, because at the time I made a bargain with my hospital. Hey, give me the money you give me for, I go to ASHE, I'll put the balance and go to Australia.
Yeah.
They said, okay, it's the same conference. So every president I meet in the ASHE conference ask me, so when are you going to become the president? They push me, and I think it's a good thing. And I was on the ASHE board several times. I was in Region 8, 2011, because I changed job. I went to Region 3. Then I got on the board from Region 3, and then I came back to Region 8. So I was on the board. I think I wanted to give back to ASHE what they gave me. ASHE is a good organization, and they are doing great things. And I'm just going to take it to a little higher level.
So I want to ask you, how will you take that to the higher level? What your goals are for this year? Because a year is a short period of time. But before I ask you that, Skanda, you hit on something, which is, I don't want to say it's concerning. It's, I agree with you that the face-to-face, those interactions you get at those conferences, when you see people, whether you're passing them in the hallway or it's in the lunch line or whatever it happens to be, those are, those relationships are invaluable. Do you get concerned that in today's world, especially as you have fewer employees because you can't get spots filled and do you get concerned that we're losing a little bit of that because of technology and the inability of people to get away from work and go to conferences, whether it's ASHE or it's at your local chapter? How do you try to keep face-to-face alive when sometimes it seems like people would rather almost step away and do it via Zoom or technology? Does that concern you at all?
Yes, I think, Peter, you are reading my mind. One of my goals as an ASHE president is we have 12,000 members, 12,500 members right now. The maximum we got from the ASHE is 4,000 people. So we have 8,000 people still not coming to the conference. And in my study research, what I did with the ASHE staff, 80% of the people, the same people come again and again and again, because there are some organization when you are at the VP or when you are at the higher level, you have the privilege to go to ASHE conference, so they come again and again. There's another level of people in the mid hospital where they budget and say this year no travel and things like that. So 80%. So my goal of this time is actually as a president to go to many chapters as I can, to go to their place and reach out to them and ask the same question you're asking. I think there's a difference between a Zoom education and reading the magazines and going to ASHE. I think, if you ask, I don't have a Tesla car, but, I use a lot of power drills. When you work in an organization, in my case, after some time you get frustrated and you get drained a little bit, you're tired. These conferences boost you back. When I go to the ASHE conference and listen to all these speakers and the keynote speaker, dynamite keynote speaker, sometimes you get a lot out of it. And you see your friends from East Coast, West Coast, sometimes you see people from Australia, Caribbean countries, and talk to them, and you come back refreshed.
Yeah.
I think we need to give the opportunity to all our staff to get out of their hospital and go. You can, I know we actually had 2 Zoom conferences during the COVID, and I was participating right here and Zoom. It's not possible to participate all day.
Yeah.
It's not possible to be listening to on a Zoom for four. I mean, is there a benefit? Yes, but it's not as good as learning. I mean, it's like me and my wife getting on this. My wife said, let's go to Alaska. When we were watching the television, there was a ship. It's funny, you can see all that. Oh, nothing like looking at real, because she has been to Alaska several times. So then, we took a trip last year to Alaska, and she was right. It's nothing like seeing Alaska, being in Alaska.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Alaska. Where did you go?
Juneau.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I'd love to see Alaska.
And we drove around, and it's wonderful. So yeah, it is something, and also we need to give a break to our guys once in a way so that we can get out and mix with other people. That's important. So
it is. And I know at CommonSpirit and CHI before, the merger, you guys always seem to do a good job sending people to the ASHE conference. How do, for somebody who is maybe sitting there and their organization, well, maybe they're that community hospital you just mentioned, they don't have a lot of money, how do they advocate or how do they communicate to their leadership that, hey, this is important? Because you're probably not in your career now, right? Without going to ASHE. I mean, without that face-to-face interaction, where are you now? So how do they advocate to send me?
Yeah, that is one of the other goals on my ASHE, Peter, is to educate our staff. One of the things is, we always struggle with, you're 100% correct. In the critical access hospital, I take a hospital in Oaks, North Dakota. I have only one guy.
Yeah.
It's a critical access hospital. He get help, and we are giving him my help now. But most of the time, he was one guy. How can I take him away?
Right.
So that's a big question. I tried to even get him to the North Dakota state chapter. Is for him to get away one day is hard. There are some issues we are struggling to help. If you have at least 4 guys, you can manage to get one guy out for a week or 3 days. Then there are 3 guys we can see. And the other thing is succession planning is interconnected with what you are saying. Of course, if this guy, I meet this guy and then I look at him and say, okay, if he's sick for a week, what am I going to do? I mean, we handle it that way. Then when it comes to conferences, we said, okay, you can't go because we cannot be with you. So we as leaders, we need to evaluate that. We need to talk to the administration and say, well, hey, it can happen to him. So we need to figure that out. And as leaders, we need to help them. And I'm working on that. That is one of the things I am planning to travel to every chapter because I wanted to ask how they feel about not attending the meetings.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
going to every chapter, when do you start on that goal?
Actually, you know, I have already working on a calendar with ASHE. My first trip starts in February. I think I have to attend a ASHE Winter Conference in January, so I'm going to start it. It's not possible for me to hit all 50 chapters, but you know, at least I'm picking one chapter on each region, so
Yeah.
I have 10 chapters I can hit. And my goal is to reach out to the people who cannot attend ASHE and talk to them personally. And you know, I wanted to see they also have talents, like everybody said, there's talents. How can we use their talent and the chapter talent with ASHE?
Yeah.
It's going to be a good relationship going forward.
How can you, as the president of ASHE, and those are great and worthwhile goals, right? As division director at CommonSpirit, as president of ASHE, as you go to these chapters, as you talk specifically to those members, what would you try to do as a follow-up to that? And what kind of constrains you in pushing your goals forward? Or are there constraints in pushing your goals forward?
My organization is fully supporting me on this mission. We believe as a CommonSpirit, we are in 22 states, almost 204 plus hospitals we have, and some of them are partnerships, some of we own and everything. And we believe as a CommonSpirit Health with my boss, David Jones and Travis Messina, as healthcare grows, we need to grow together.
Yeah.
I believe, and we believe in collaboration, not competition. Competition is a disaster. I mean, I'm in Omaha, and you know, I'm friendly with the other hospital directors, and we have a collaboration and teamwork. I think I see that coming up in the technical, clinical world as well. We don't want to have the same service in this town, two hospitals competing with each other. Rather have one service in one hospital, better service than the other hospital. I think in case, if we have a motor when I was in Kansas, if we have a motor that burned out that I cannot get it from a supplier, my competition provides me that motor. And we get that with the permission of the leadership. Hey, this hospital, they don't have a fire pump that burned out. We have a spare one, we are going to give it. And we had that kind of relationship. That's the only way for us to prosper. We need to help each other.
Does that require the collaboration, not competition? Does that require a mindset change for folks to think that way? And how do you get to a point where people buy into the collaboration, not competition?
The platform is the ASHE. The platform is the local chapter. So when you meet there, for an example, in Nebraska, when you meet in the Kearney and we play golf in the Kearney grounds, we are playing golf with our competition. They are my golf partner. And we feel friendly, and there's no difference between what he does and what I do. As far as healthcare concerned, if there's a vacancy, I have my competition applying, I interview them to come and work in my facility for a facility director. So, we are all in the same profession. It's like, the pilots from Delta getting a job in United Airlines and United Airlines getting a job in British Airways. I mean, the education has to be safe for any pilot to move around. Yeah. So I think I look at that analogy and, helps people. And the way we do that is to bring these people together once a year in a common platform. I can only think of that being the local chapters and ASHE. ASHE does a great job, bringing presentations from two different systems together in a presentation. If I'm right, that how to manage multiple hospitals is going to be Terry Scott and Dennis Ford is going to be both are in two different systems. Is going to be in the same platform. Giving the presentation, it's more valuable than just listening to only one system person. Yeah, it's totally, you have to change your mind.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that I like to get the people from the hospital away, because they are in that facility, they are just brainwashed to do the same thing. And when you go and meet with other people, hey, they are doing something different than what I do.
Right.
The light bulb goes off.
Do you have to, just last question on that, because it's such a interesting concept, because people in facilities, and you've mentioned it, for the most part, you're always willing to help each other out because you kind of know what it's like to be alone on that boat in the middle of the ocean with nobody helping you. Is that messaging, when you elevate that messaging to the C-level, to the folks above, do you need to sell them on that concept, or are they usually, because they're looking for service lines, profit, sometimes it can be different focus. Is it a difficult message to sell?
Most of the time, Peter, it is what we do is a cost saving.
Okay.
It's not expensive. I'm giving a motor to my friend, which is about 5,000 or 4,500, not free.
Yeah.
Because he has already ordered the motor. That motor is coming. It's going to come straight to he's going to give it to me.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm giving a motor that was sitting in the shelf for 2 years and getting a brand new motor to replace it. I'm just temporarily moving. I mean, we do things to help each other. And there are times I have sent my people across town to help another facility, of course, in the same system. But that is available. I mean, I have called my competition and asked that, hey, I have a problem in my hospital. The contractor is working in your hospital. Can you release him to come and work in my hospital? And he said, sure, because your breakdown is much more serious than what they are doing it now. So that kind of relationship is, sorry about that, relationship is what I'm talking about. So it is not hurting anybody. It's that very transparent.
Very. This concludes episode 1. Please return to the Healthcare Facilities Network in the near future to view episode 2. And as always, thank you for watching.